Hello everyone, my name's Jerushin, and welcome to this tutorial. Today we are going to be showing off this boat elevator design that I came up with. Now, I was inspired by when I saw, I can't remember whether it was a video, but someone was showing off the fact that you can interact through the corner of a block with liquids and just different objects in general through the corner of the block. You can also get hurt by lava through the corner of a block if this was lava, but it's only through one corner, and I'm not exactly sure which corner actually. Looking at the clouds, I would say this would be the northeast corner. Clouds always go in the northern direction, at least until later on when that was changed, but for the time being they go to the north, and the sun rises in the east, so we know that this would be the northeast corner. And yeah, this is the only corner that you can interact with blocks, such as water and lava, through the corner of the block. And I'm utilizing that in this boat elevator design. By pressing the button here, you can see that the door opens and then closes again. The boat drops into the water below here and is pushed into the corner of the block. And then you can see that the boat interacted with the water and was brought all the way up to the top. So let's see that again. I'm going to press this button, which is going to toggle this torch tower, and the boat is going to come back down to the bottom, and we'll watch that one more time. We'll see, we have it down at the bottom, the door opens, the boat is pushed into the corner, and then it goes up to the top. And as you can see, when it gets to the top, it turns around and lands on another door over there. Now, we're not going to talk about this other thing behind here for now. I'm going to talk about this after, but that basically allows you to have the system in manual mode or auto mode. And auto mode is essentially just to have the boat go up and down automatically, you know, every few seconds or so. But I'm going to press this button again to call the boat from the top, and we're going to ride this up to the top and see how it feels. So as you can see, we can hop in the boat, we can press the button, we are pushed into the corner, and up we go. And we get to the top. We don't get hurt by the glass block because it is a transparent block. You don't get any damage dealt to you. The boat is then pushed over using the water along here. Again, the boat is interacting with this water through the edge of the block, pretty much. It gets pushed up against this ladder. This is just to kind of help align it so that it doesn't gain as much speed. When you press the button here, it turns around, aligns up against these ladders over here, and then heads back down to the bottom. Now, if you're in survival, you might be thinking, well, I just pressed the button and now I have no way to get down. Well, either you could install another chute along the edge here where you could drop down with water at the bottom, or you can do what I do, is kind of go along the edge and then at the last second catch in the water right through the corner of the block. It's a little bit risky if you're not fast enough, but it does work as well. So we'll try that one more time so we get to ride down as well. Again, we ride up. The boat interacts with the water through the corner of the block. We hit the top, we get pushed over, align up against the ladder, and then we can just walk out just like that. Especially if you have slabs along the edge here, you can just get out of the boat and just walk right off. It's very convenient. And you can also just walk right in as well. And if I press this button right here, you can see we turn around, we get pushed up against this glass block right here, but since we are not in the corner, we don't end up going back up to the top. So that's why we have the ladders along the edge right at the top there, so that these ladders right here make sure that we don't hit the ledge at the very bottom right along the edge there, but it also means that we can align up to them and that our boat isn't in the corner, so we don't get recycled back up to the top constantly over and over again. The boat, there we go, lines up against the glass block and goes down to the bottom, and then once you open the door here at the bottom, then it gets pushed into the corner where it can go back up again. And there it is up at the top. Now I'm going to explain the automatic mode over here. Essentially, we just have a torch on the back, and this is basically an AND gate right here. It's a little bit stretched out and a bit deformed, but it's basically an AND gate. So you can see that this pressure plate right here toggles every so often based off of this minecart delay clock that I have set up here. So basically the minecart will only press this pressure plate, you know, every 10-15 seconds or so. I haven't really counted it. and that will turn off this torch every so often. But if this torch is always on, that means that this torch will never turn on, because there's always power on this redstone line here. If we turn off this lever over here, now we're in automatic mode, and you'll see that the only power source is from this delay clock over here. When that turns off in a second, it will turn off this redstone up here, this torch will turn on, and you can hear that the doors were toggled. So now the boat is on its way down. It will come to the bottom, and after a certain amount of time, we should see that the boat goes back up to the top all by itself. So this might be useful if you don't want to have buttons, but then you're going to want to make sure that you remove the buttons in order to make sure that you don't have an issue where the doors are opening and closing at the wrong times, and you could just have a lot of issues if you start having both. So this is kind of one or the other. Or if you know what you're doing, then you can have both. But if you're using this in like a... Well, I guess you wouldn't really want to use this in a multiplayer situation, because multiplayer boats are kind of weird. Some quick things to note about this design is that we have the water in the wall just over here. So that's how you get this specific water pattern. Another thing worth noting is that you don't need all this glass around this water here. You can remove some of that, especially around the back, and some along this row right here. However, this row, like right along here pretty much, that the boat aligns up to, if you start removing some there, I can't guarantee it's going to work properly, especially if you start taking it out near the top. It is used for boat alignment in some parts, so just keep that in mind. You don't need this redstone torch tower going all the way up to the top either, but I like having it because more often than not I accidentally hit the button and then the boat goes up to the top and there's no way to retrieve it unless you send a signal up to the door up there to release the boat. And I just have the torch tower right here firing at the same time as this redstone line down here. So the door down here opens and closes at the same time as the one up there on the same signal, pretty much. You can keep them separate if you want to, but I don't think there's any issue with having both of them on the same button. But I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. I've got a lot of other different things in this world as well, so maybe I'll talk about those in another video. As you can see here, this was my second revision on this, or this is my first revision on this specific design, but I had a few issues with it. Specifically the fact that the top platform wasn't designed correctly, so if you build this short elevator using this design, it was no issue like this one. This one still works no problem. It was when you started making it taller was when you started having issues, specifically the fact that it would actually get caught up in the corner again, and it would just keep recycling at the top, and it would never make it down to the bottom once it got to the top. So this one was a little bit of a work in progress, but I ended up testing out this one all the way to world height, and it seems to work much better. And this was my very first ever boat elevator, automatic boat elevator essentially. So you could just hop in the boat, and I'm not aligned properly, so then it didn't work right away. But once you get to the top, it let you out, and then the boat would just go all by itself. And then you could drop down the drop chute over here to get down. Now the issue with this one is that, like I showed right at the beginning, the boat can get out of alignment very easily, and the boat can break, and also the boat drops down a separate area. It does not return down the way it came. So it makes this design very bulky and just not as easy to use. But again, this one was nice because all you had to do was step into the boat and it would just go. So yeah, that's just what you had to give up when you make a bit of a nicer design like that one. You don't have the automatic feature where you can just step in it and it goes, but you do have a much more reliable elevator. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed making it, and hopefully I can make some more tutorials on different things that I've made in this world. I make everything in this world in creative using the NSSS mod, so none of this is in survival. It's mostly just for me to play around with different mechanics, and it makes it a lot easier for me since I don't have to go out gathering resources. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.